hello, our Ipsters out there. How are you doing? We're back at Imperfect Parenting, having a good time.
Always happy to be here with the one and only. Drum roll, please. I couldn't hear it.
I'm not. You want me to smack things? That's what.
Sure. I was waiting for it, but
No,
whatever. Seth Dahl. Hey, Ashley's got it.
I'm like, what am I supposed to smack it on? That's literally what I feel like is going to happen. What am I supposed to do? I've got nothing to go with.
We digress. This got weird. Sorry. Glad you're here, Seth. That's all I'm trying to say.
I know. Good to be back again. Every month I get to join.
It's good.
Fun.
It's a good thing Seth loves us and all that weirdness. But he has some of that himself.
You love me too.
That's true.
We've had too many years together for him to back out now.
Too late.
Right.
I'm gonna let Brittney do this meme. Let you like it's my decision. But I do want to point out this is one of the few words I've kept as an Aussie. Banana.
Oh, you're on the wrong one, I think.
You are on the wrong one.
Well, that one's coming. You guys are gonna love that meme. It's hilarious.
Yeah, save it next time, Ben.
Is it the wrong one?
I just want to set you up for what's really exciting. So stick around.
What's really exciting. Yeah, the next one that we're doing, which are you ready for us, Ashley?
Yep.
Okay. This one, it says it's like a before and after, if you will, of it says leaving for a mission trip and coming home from a mission trip. But I think it should say preparing for VBS and ending VBS. And it's the picture of Taylor Swift and then Dog the Bounty Hunter. Do you remember that show? I love that show.
Oh my gosh.
Did you ever watch that, Seth?
I did a little bit.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. It was good.
It was. I always loved that they would tackle people and cuss like crazy, and then they'd be like, "Let me pray for you and bring you to Jesus."
I know.
Like, okay, you know what?
We drove past this shop a couple times.
Oh, we were Hawaiian. Just, some people are just uniquely themselves, but they love Jesus. But this is, this could be your first day of school, last day of school, first day of homeschool, last day of homeschool. I just felt like there's so many things that this could be tied to. It does say mission trip, but I was thinking more about VBS because we passed this big church in our neighborhood area, and they had like slides going down this giant hill in their parking lot. They had all these things out, big, the jump houses and this and that and this and that. And I thought of our days back in children's ministry when we do camp.
Mm-hmm.
And the insanity, the excitement. Do you remember? I think it was called Oriental Trading Company or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
That
Oriental Trading.
Everything from, I swear. And
the boxes would come in for weeks at a time.
So many weeks.
Weeks and weeks. Boxes everywhere.
Everywhere. And then everything would break anyways within like 30 seconds. And we were excited about it. But we looked like dog afterwards. We were a little bit excited.
Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Mm-hmm. So it took me back to the days of our, was it tent revival camp? What do we call that thing?
Mm-hmm. Children's tent revival camp that we did.
Yeah. So long
You
ago.
ran it.
I know. I did run it. And then school worship we did for kids. And what was the other? VBS. Do you remember that giant jellyfish that we put in the middle of the sanctuary for school worship?
No.
You weren't there for that one.
I don't think I was there yet.
You remember that one? Yes, I hosted the school worship for the kids, and it was the world's largest hula hoop. We just took PVC pipe and then made a giant jellyfish because it was like under the sea thing.
I taught a class once on how to play the didgeridoo at that school worship.
Oh, yeah.
The thing that they wouldn't know is I had never played one before. We just got a bunch of them and said I'm Australian, so you should know. So that was fun.
Yeah, All right. Well, that has nothing to do with our topic.
Well, other than
Jesus and church and
there we go.
Love and his goodness.
Parents, stay alive. Stay with us. Come on. You got this.
Yeah.
We're their comic relief, I hope.
I hope so.
Oh. So, Seth, you want to kick us off on our topic?
Yeah. This one, this is one of the topics that seems like we come back to again and again and again, simply because it's so important. And the topic is partnering with fear or love. And, all of us want to raise our kids with love. We want to be moved by love, motivated by love, interacting with our kids with love. And fear just often gets in the way. And it's a question, like whenever Brittney and I, or Ben and Brittney and I, are somewhere speaking and we do Q&A, parents are asking questions, and you can just feel like, okay, fear's here, fear's involved. Mm-hmm. This is a parent who is struggling with fear, and a lot of times we don't realize it. And so that's what we're going to be talking about in this one, is how be parenting with love and not fear.
Yeah.
One of the things I've noticed about fear is usually the reason fear shows up is because we love our kids so much. We love them so much. We don't want anything to hurt them. We don't want anything to go wrong for them. We don't want them to get messed up. And we love them so much. We want to protect them. We want to keep them safe. And then something happens and fear shows up and goes, I will help you keep them safe. I will help you control what's going on here so that you will feel safe again, so that you can, so you feel safe and you feel in control. But a lot of times that's what it is fear shows up because we love so much. But it changes how we're parenting, and it changes how we're interacting with our kids, and it changes the connection with our kids. None of us really want a connection based on fear, I hope. Right. And we'd rather have a connection based on love. But that's just something I've noticed, is this is a common topic. It's a common thing. A lot of parents don't realize it. And the reason it shows up is because we love.
Yeah.
Fear has the tendency to superimpose itself over the things we care about so that we can protect them and protect ourselves and our own sense of safety. So
it's a great point.
That's what we're talking about today.
Which is funny that the scripture, perfect love casts out fear. And yet here we are in the name of love, ruled by fear. And it's you just lose the essence, the heart, the wisdom behind that scripture is we reverse it and disregard the call that God's trying to tell us. Fear will never work.
Yeah.
It will never work. It is not the option to pursue that your main motive of love has to be pure, has to be connected to Him, and you've got to be in charge of your earthliness that wants to say, fear, come on in here, because love's clearly not going to cut it.
Yeah.
Which is just a bummer. I had a coaching call just this week of a mom. She's calling me. She's got this 11-year-old-ish daughter somewhere in there, and she's just scared. They're not super connected. She doesn't really know what to do. And she's trying to figure out how to give choices that are still control.
Yeah.
Which is so funny because they hear our stuff. They love our stuff. And they're like, okay, I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So I still get to control them with my choices. No, you're missing it. You're missing it. But it's such an easy trap when I have this place of I'm afraid. And so I'm going to use these tools incorrectly. And I'm going to create actually more distance, more power struggle. And until I'm willing to confront the motive that's in my heart, things won't change and these tools won't work.
Yeah. Well, just hearing what you're both saying, I think what's often passed down through the generation, and I think what people can very easily pick up and believe, I think a lot of people listening, especially if you're just joining us, is that when love is superimposed over fear, and I think I'm loving, but it's actually just fear disguised, is I'm actually calling this fear motivation love. And so I'm justifying it. And so when you come and say, well, that's not helpful. You're like, no, I'm loving. Because this is how my parents did it. This is how their parents did it. This is how they loved me. Is they led me with fear. This is love, right? Well, I don't know. How's the experience? Well, yeah, I think I want to leave this conversation in a minute. I want to hear what you have to say before we go there, but I want to actually talk a little bit about then what is love? Like, what does it look and feel like? Probably first with our Father in heaven, and then how we lead in that, because it's a different experience than just a different face of fear. But Seth, share that thought first.
Yeah, I was just going to say a couple things quick. Like, Ben, I've literally had parents come to me and go, I know you don't think we should use fear to parent our kids, but fear works.
Yeah, exactly.
And I said, fear works to get them to do what you want them to do, but fear will destroy the relationship. Because this same dad, I literally had to have a conversation and go, you actually don't have a real relationship with your children because they're so afraid to show you who they really are. They're so afraid to show you what's really going on in them that you have a relationship with a false person, like a mask. You have a relationship with the mask they put on when they show up to talk to you because you've used fear so much. And yep, it's got them to behave, but it's also hindered the relationship that you wanted. And to go back to Brittney's verse, 1 John 4:18 says, there is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. The most common way, the common interpretation or translation of the Bible that Danny uses for this and we use for this, it says, perfect love casts out fear because fear involves punishment. So we talk about like, we don't want to punish our kids. We don't want to control our kids. We want to operate in love. If we introduce punishment into our children, we've removed love from the equation. Mm-hmm. But my translation, the New King James, makes it even more intense. My translation says, perfect love casts out fear because fear involves torment. Mm-hmm. And, when kids, I just think it's a really important thing to look at and go, why, sometimes parents are like, my kid can't sleep. It's like they're tormented. My kid's so full of anxiety. My kid's so full of worry. My kid's just not okay. My kid's not doing well. Like, oh, maybe it's because the fear that's present in the home is actually causing torment in their life and in the parent's life. So talking about this is really, really important to get what is love.
Yeah.
What actually is love that Ben was talking about that will remove fear, deliver us from torment, remove punishment, and let us parent the way God wants us to parent. What is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ben, you got thoughts on what you want to say, what love actually is?
Yeah, I think what it isn't this appeasing and removing of strength and leadership and boundaries and showing up as the presence this child needs, because we are entrusted to lead this child through their childhood, teenage, tween journey to become an adult. It's one of the most it's the most important job we have, right? Maybe staying married is the first one, but it's the most important job we have, is ushering God's gift to us through their journey. And so love isn't this rolling over and just doing whatever the child wants because that's love. And it's not leading you through torment and punishment because that's what was done to me. So it really is this, for me, and I'll answer it this way. I think it's hard to actually capture this in a few minutes here, but for me, it has a lot to do with vision. That there's a desire that God has for your life. When I can connect to that and catch that in my heart, I'm going to lead you differently. I'm going to love you differently. When I can see down the road, this problem in front of us actually isn't that dangerous, isn't that scary, because once we navigate this, we know where we're going. If this problem feels that big because I'm lacking vision, then I'm gonna bring all the fear, all the worry to this moment, because I'm like, this is gonna ruin your life. there's those moments that are really expensive. But I think when love has vision connected to it, it changes how we lead.
Yeah. Glad you're the father of our children.
I'm glad that you're glad.
Yeah. I think, love sometimes gets the rap that it needs to be. It should be forgiving. It should be gentle. It should be kind. It should be present.
1 Corinthians 13.
Yeah, it should be all those things in Corinthians. It should be a standard. But it doesn't mean that it's accepting or bullied or wavered or negotiable or passive. I think these are the places where it gets confused in situations of parenting, is we get faced these crossroads. And I now feel like if I bring compassion, then that means I'm not a good leader. Well, can you be a good leader and be compassionate? I'm pretty sure I know a really good one. I've got a couple of scriptures I can point that out to.
With compassion.
Yeah. I mean, can I love you and see your pain as you make a really hard choice or consequence enters your life? Is that still love? I think love sometimes gets this rap to be removing of pain. Yeah. And so as parents, we're like, they're not going to be able to handle this pain. It's so hard. It's so uncomfortable. I think if I'm uncomfortable with pain, if I'm uncomfortable with being discomforted, I also put that on my way of parenting and leading, because I almost insert my own insecurities to, this is how I'm going to parent. So if I'm overly anxious about something and I communicate that in all things, well, it's no doubt that my kid feels overly anxious about all sorts of things. If I am controlling because I doubt that anything good will happen when you take risk, why would my child ever take risk? Same with relationships. If I talk about how, the pain of putting your heart out there, why would they ever go up to some kid on the playground and be like, we could do this. We could be best friends because, God is love and he wants us to have fellowship and community. So love is it's all in the Bible. It's pretty clearly what we're supposed to do. I just think as parents, as soon as we basically stop surrendering, the immediate void that surrender took up is usually filled with fear.
That's great.
So if I can't stay surrendered to the Lord and the promise that he loves them more than I ever will, fear will fill that void.
Man, that's good.
I know.
Really good.
Thanks, guys.
You should write a book on that.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that, Seth?
Yeah, I really like that. Like, if you're not connected to, like, Ben, what you said, the vision for their life, and Brittney, what you said, just that he loves them more, that leaves a void for fear to show up. Like, wait a second. I mean, we recently had a situation with our daughter that just, felt a little bit intense and a little bit scary. Just a relationship that she has, that some stuff was happening and we're feeling, like, ooh, this is not going well. And I'm like, I can feel fear. I can feel fear. I can feel that I want to control this. I can feel that I want to step in and make decisions that are punishing or controlling in her life. And so I needed to take some time. Like, I can't be in a hurry for this. I can't just react out of this. I need actually some space. So, me and Lauren had a really long conversation, a really long talk about how we're going to handle this without fear, how we're going to handle this with God. I prayed a lot into it. Like, how do I come in here with your heart for her, with your heart for this relationship, with your heart for our family? How do I protect our connection while I set boundaries? And so it's kind of like, what Brittney just said, like, I got to make sure when I sense fear coming, like, wow, this thing, fear only shows up when we perceive a threat to what's important to us. So obviously my daughter is important to me, and this thing presents itself as if it's a threat. And so fear is the emotion that shows up, and it's there, like, hello, threat, threat, threat. But I had to take a step back and go to my wife and go to God and go, I need to approach this with you, not just with what I'm feeling right now. And it actually turned really beautiful. I got to go in there. I got to talk with her for a really long time, multiple times, about what's going on. I got to communicate my heart to her. I got to lay some stuff out, help her think through some things that were going on so that she could see what was actually taking place from a different perspective. But the way I handled it, and it's not by no means done. We're still in it, and there's more conversations to have, but our connection is stronger because of the way I've set boundaries. And I think that's some of the essence of what we were talking about before, is like, we're like, love doesn't involve punishment. Fear involves punishment. So don't punish. And a lot of parents are like, well, don't discipline. Don't have boundaries. Don't let them do whatever they want. Let them run over you and put it all in the name of love. Like, that's a recipe for hate to enter your heart and resentment to enter your heart. And before long, you were like, I love you so much. I let you do whatever you wanted to do. And I never set boundaries for you. And now I actually kind of resent you. Like, oh, that's not a smart plan either. So love isn't like that we don't set boundaries. It's how we set boundaries. It's how we communicate. It's not that we don't communicate and we just take stuff away. No, it's how we communicate about setting those boundaries and taking away things when it's necessary, and adjusting how they use certain things or time that they have, whether it's on the phone or whether it's with people or whatever it is that's going on in their life. Love is more, how am I approaching this? And I think going back to that is like, it's really good to not just react and to take time and go, Lord, I need to come in here with your vision for their life. I also need to come in here with your love, and I need to come in here and protect our connection, even as I'm setting boundaries in this. And so, yeah, I love what both of you said. I really love the whole, I don't want to leave a void. I don't want to leave a void for fear. So if I need 10 minutes, half an hour, if I need a day to go, like, I need to process my emotions. I need to take some time and process out my emotions so they're not running the show, and I can get connected to God over this situation and then go back in there with the love of God. There's no room for it. Absolutely no room for it. And, doing this with our daughter recently, it's like, wow, within a day, we could see a change. It's like, oh, the connection is protected, even though we set some stronger boundaries, even though we took away some things, even though we changed some stuff for her life. She had some choices in it, that's for sure. But I had to set some boundaries. But we saw it within 24 hours, even less than 24 hours. Within 10 hours, we saw a complete shift in just her interactions and her responses and her engagement with us. Like, wow, God really helped me set boundaries with love, not fear. And it strengthened the connection instead of damage it.
One of the things I think I'm hearing you say, and I think we're all saying in different ways, is that, when you run towards fear, which no one's going to willingly say that they will run towards fear, but when you run towards fear, you're always met with more torment. But when I run towards love, I always find connection. And because the most purest form of love that we're chasing after in our own relationships and in our home is the Father's first, and He will always meet us with connection. But if we run as parents towards that fear, it will only lead to more torment in our relationships, in our home, in our peace meter. I mean, it just destroys us. So running to love just produces connection. Whether it may not be instant in our relationship with our kids, we'll find it from the Lord, which is what we should be fueled with.
And I think the thing Seth's really talking about is trust. Is when done with the motivation of love, that trust is the result. That's what happens. So we're building these memories and these opportunities with kids, which are so important and so valuable, which makes me want to take a moment real quick and talk about our sponsor. We have a sponsor now. We have for a little bit. Rents for Babies with a letter 4.com, rentsforbabies.com.
I think it's just rents for baby.
Well, if you have multiple babies, that's good. But if you look at the website,
rents for all your babies.
Have no S. Rents for all your babies. Rents for baby. We love these guys. They're doing a great job. But it really is about kind of what we're talking about in that creating lasting memories. They want to have families take vacations, go to the beach. They have lots of different options for you, from beach toys to the pack and play that you don't want to lug around on the plane with you on vacation. They want to create strollers, all of it, just all of that stuff. I mean, it's amazing. You should go look at the website. They have so many different things. They're in over 30 states in America, and they want to create ease with excellence. They will show up at your hotel room and set this stuff up for you. We've taken vacations to the beach and purchased a couple of times now.
Yeah.
We purchased the boogie boards and the beach toys and the towels, and then we just gave it to someone when we left. It's great. Where were these guys? We need some help.
Umbrellas. They have all sorts of things, and they service from 0 to 5 years old is kind of their window of what you might need, and they have all sorts of things. So again, you want to check out their website, which is where is it? Rent and the number 4 baby.com. And if you do Imperfect Parenting, you get a little bit of a discount, which is awesome. But they're, again, kingdom-minded people.
Great partner.
That want to help you create connection. And so we're happy to have them as our sponsor.
There we go.
All right, last question. Are you ready? I did strategically match our meme with the question because I thought it was kind of funny. We know that the meme had Taylor Swift in it. Now, none of you Swiftie moms out there would be mad at me for this question that came in. I did not write this question.
No.
What are your thoughts of the idolization of Taylor Swift and her lyrics? I think that it's probably a big question because Taylor is making a gigantic splash in culture.
Mm-hmm.
And you could point at her, you could point at Madonna, you could point at AC/DC, you could point at all sorts of people. I don't know that Taylor's the problem. I would say personally for me, any form of idolization is evil. I don't know how many times you read the first 5 books of the Bible. Hello, bad, bad, bad. Don't do it. Yeah, we did it over and over again. How many golden calves? I'm actually shocked with the Israelites how they had gold. Gold is heavy. How they just lugging around gold and they're like, you know what we should do? A golden calf. It's always a cow.
It's a great question. They're finding gold somewhere.
I don't know.
The cow was probably hauling the gold for them on a cart.
I guess so.
And they're like, you know what? You brought us all this gold. You carried it for us. Now we should worship.
It was never a duck. It was never a chicken. I don't understand why it was always a cow, but whatever. I mean, it was a snake, but nonetheless, Taylor's not the problem. So let's not make her the bad guy in this because we know how that works out for everybody. The problem is when we start to idolize something, when we give space for it to consume our hearts to the point of influence, and that's what we want to replicate. I would say this cell phone has become an idol in a lot of people's life. I would say status on the little blue check on your Instagram has become a form of an idolization. There's all sorts if you drive a Tesla or not, if you're that cool. I don't drive one of those, but I know somebody in this room that does drive one. He's pretty cool.
He's pretty cool.
But there's just pick a topic, you could worship it. A band. I think that's the problem in this statement is, and so it happens in your house because it's permitted. And I think it's in, where is it at? It's not in, I think it's in Deuteronomy 6, where it talks about you're supposed to talk about God over and over again to your children. That when you wake up, when you go to bed, morning, night, over and over again, that they know who God is. So when that goes quiet, guess what gets loud?
Yeah, it's good.
The void. We're back at the void.
And Brittney, I think that's, Taylor Swift and her lyrics. It's not just Taylor Swift, it's music. Music is very meditative. Music is over and over and over repeating, and it's catchy, so it gets stuck in your head. And so, it's if we're not talking about God, over and over. If we're not meditating on God, we leave space for them to meditate on something else. And anything would love to fill that. Anything would love to fill it. So don't leave any room for it at all.
Yeah.
And I also don't think it doesn't mean you can't listen to Taylor Swift ever. It's
right.
It's how you listen to her. You know, my family listens to Taylor Swift. My wife loves Taylor Swift. My kids love Taylor Swift. But we just don't listen to her that often because a lot of the stuff, we just don't want it to be what they're meditating on. And the more they listen to it, the more it's stuck in their head, the more it repeats.
Yeah.
And the more it becomes what they're focused on and dwelling on instead of on the Lord. So, yeah.
It's true. She's not the problem.
No.
She's not the problem.
We know what the problem is. So how you fix that is you talk about the one that should get all praise, all glory, all honor.
Yep.
As we talk about him, there should be a balance of my relationship with the Father is the only thing that I want to give my full heart to. And if it gets any other attention in other places, then I've set a stage for my children to see what it looks like to have an idol in your life.
Yeah. Yes and amen to all that.
All right.
We did it.
Okay,
we talked about Taylor Swift.
We have named you, so please don't make us an idol by any means, because that would be bad. But we're really excited that you're our hipsters for sure.
Yeah.
All
Thanks,
right.
Seth.
We'll see you next time.
See you next time.